Hello, traders. Hello, warriors. Don't mind my hair. I've been up 4 hours already. Listen, this is a real busy week with the Fed. We have multiple central banks meeting. I'm going to do my best to prepare you for the Fed. And, it's very important that when conditions change, like W.D. Gant says, if you don't learn how to change your mind, you won't have any change left. Everyone knows I'm a long-term dollar bear, but last week convinced me that there's more left in the dollar. I'll get confirmation in the Dixie on closes back over 103.80. I have a lot of moving averages here. It was a great signal on the way down for 140 points. And I think it's going to be a great signal on the way up for more than 140, possibly up towards this 105.80 to 630 level. So I want to start off with the headline of the show is that the pound, these are daily charts, staged false breakout over the 128 level, went to 129. BOE is also a bank meeting this week. I'm bearish. Perhaps there'll be some rips to sell up at 27.80 to 28.20, something like that. I'm not expecting any action in cable, but I want to show you this. You have to use your telescope too. So here's your weekly. Look at these moving averages, how they're converging up here. And that is what stopped the momentum on the upside. And what's interesting about these two moving averages is, of course, I'm wrong back over a close back over the moving average, say, 29. Breakdown's going to happen. Let me move myself right here out of the way. The breakdown's going to happen where you have the 200-day, or that's a 50-day, at 25.75, and the upper one's 28.55. So if you just take 270 points on a breakdown from 25.70, it takes you under 24 towards 23.5, which is what I started talking about last week. So I'm looking for the pound to trade down. It's a preferred short, and the weekly bands, I'm looking for, after 23.5, then we could talk about buying the pound should this scenario play out. Euro, similar situation. It didn't get quite, last week it didn't get to the moving average, but look how these weekly moving averages contained it up here, up around this 111. That was over a month ago. I pointed that out. So if I'm right about the pound, this is going to roll over too. And I think we'll take out that 107 level. 108 will get it going. Okay. Looks like 108.40 is what's going to trigger these moving averages on the downside. And 108 is what we held before we made this recent run to the upside. See this, held 108, 108, and really, not that impressive. Maybe we get a run towards 920 first, but back under, here's your 108 level that held before this recent rally. Back under 108, you're talking 106. So that's a possible target. Also very unimpressed with the action in Aussie, because look at copper. And, Mike V's been taking advantage of the copper stocks, Freeport, etc. So you have China stabilizing, copper exploding to the upside, and relative weakness in the Aussie. So when I look at this, Aussie, they also meet this week. I would be a seller up around 66 if we had any kind of rally up there towards 66, 66.20, I believe was the 2-week off number. And my target would come in right around here at the blue return line, which is coming in, I call it 63.5, almost a full-blown retest of the lows from last October. So negative Aussie, selling rallies at 66 or so. And what's this all about? Was a change in the yield picture, which is something I hammered home last week as well, with the 10-year getting back above the bull bear line at 420. I think there's a pretty good possibility that we trade up to 61.8, which is 454. But as time goes on, perhaps we're really going to make a move. I mean, I see drive one, drive two. This is a lower probability trade for me, but at least a continuation of this rally towards 61.8. Who knows, maybe 78.6. Because I believe that Paul is going to be Mr. Hyde. In December, he was Dr. Jekyll, and he was saying the coast is clear, took a victory lap. That's when the market started to price in 6 interest rate cuts. And with the recent data, he's gotten inflation data. And when he went on 60 Minutes talking about remaining higher for longer for interest rates, I believe he's going to be talking more like a hawk. We also have the BOJ. That's a coin toss, whether they do it or not. I'm just going to stand aside in that. And the other trade that I called out last week was what we had going in TLT. And that was a pretty good trade from up here. I said we weren't going to break out and that we were going to most likely travel all the way back down towards the bottom of this flag, which is 90. Still think there's a possibility of that. Something that would throw that off is if we started closing back above 95, then maybe this breakout's going to happen. But still have a fairly high conviction that if the 10-year is going to get to those levels, that the long end also could trade around the 90 level. That's where I want to wrap it. Looks like crude's trying to break out over 81. I'm not doing anything with it. I'm going to stay focused on these positions and potential entries that I just shared with you today. Remember, the markets will be here. I think there's 10 or 12 central banks meeting this week. Be careful. Reduce your leverage. Don't try and get rich in a week. You have to be a grinder and grind it out and use stops, let your positions breathe. And you could do that if you do less leverage. You could have a stop, not exactly a pip above a significant higher low. You could give it some tolerance in case a stop hunt is on the agenda of the black boxes and high frequency trading. So good hunting this week. If you're a uranium buff or a miner buff, I do have Fabi Lara with us on Wednesday. Her handle is at the next big rush. She's been real right about uranium, still constructive on it, and also made some nice calls on some gold miners. So tune in if you're a metalhead, and I'm not talking about Judas Priest and heavy metal bands, but I'm talking about miners. And I believe Mike will be with you in a little while, receiving some pretty good input from viewers. It's our goal to build up and edify traders every day. Best way to do that is to check into the room. I did quite a few posts today on the things I just discussed with you and gave maybe a bit more detail. And you have to watch the trading savant, Mike Venezia, go nuts every day in the market, finding things that only he could find with his methodology. So good luck. Don't just count your pips, count your blessings. And I'll see you tomorrow with Mike and on Wednesday with Fabi Lara at the next big rush.